going to talk about pirates. Yarr! All right. So you might have remembered this. A couple years ago, there was a cargo ship called the SS Maersk Alabama. It was off the coast of Somalia. It was hauling freight, because that's a freight ship. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, a wild bounding appears. Not kidding. There we go. Pirates came out with rockets and rifles and such. Well, that didn't go well, so the U.S. Navy sent Navy SEALs to kill the pirates, and they did, and the crew was saved. And it was a happy, happy ending. Piracy isn't new. It really isn't. Ever since there were ships on the water, there were pirates. Piracy is defined by U.S. law as a criminal act committed at sea by non-government agents. The punishment for piracy traditionally was death plus torture, but now it can range from anywhere from 30 years in prison to life sentence, depending on how bad the hijacking of the ship was. But you can make a lot of money doing that. You can make potentially hundreds of thousands, even millions of dollars being a pirate. And that's why many people all throughout the world have said, yo-ho. Despite all the glamour portrayed in the movies, it's a very dangerous crime. Pirates aren't nice people. They never were. But, hopefully this is the right one. A pirate's life for me. Okay. Now where did piracy begin? It goes back to the ancient Egyptians. The first recorded use of piracy was in the Mediterranean off the coast of Egypt, but it probably started before them. The Egyptian pharaohs really had no navy, so they just let the pirates do what they wanted. But the Egyptians weren't alone. The Phoenicians, the Babylonians, they all had to deal with pirates of their own. Even the Greeks, and later even the Romans. In fact, Julius Caesar was captured by pirates in 75 BC, and he was released, but then he launched one of the most devastating anti-pirate campaigns in history. He essentially found all the pirates and crucified them, and there was no pirates again until the most famous group of pirates of all came along in the Middle Ages, and they were the Vikings. The Vikings were actually pirates. Now, I don't know, just kind of skipped over that, but I'm not going to worry. They raided ships, killed people, kidnapped people, raided the coastline, stuff that even modern pirates do. But they eventually dissipated, and piracy kind of died in Europe again. But it continued on in Asia. In Asia, the central governments in Asia collapsed. People became pirates there. In fact, there were very large pirate groups there. Ships could carry up to 3,000 people at once. It continued from the 1400s to the 1800s. One of the most successful pirates pictured here was Qing Shi. She was actually a woman, and she had a pirate army of 30,000 men, and actually had her own city, Pirate City, which is awesome, by the way. So that was and actually there is still piracy in Asia today after governments there collapsed. And there's a picture of another guy getting rescued. And then came military piracy. In Europe, by the 1500s, there was no money for navies. So what they would do is they would hire people called privateers. They would essentially, governments would find known pirates, give them a lot of money to do pirate things, and they wouldn't be hanged for it because it was legal. One such pirate was Hayreddin Barbarossa. He defeated an entire European navy at the Battle of Lepanto in 1570. And actually, he made a lot of money doing that. He made the equivalent of some $6 million from the Ottoman Empire by doing that. And it actually spread into America as well. Again, there was no money in for navies even into the 1700s, and there was a lot of wars going on in Europe, and colonies had to be defended. So governments such as France, England, Holland, Spain, they all hired privateers. And some of the most famous pirates in history were privateers at one time. The list is, probably zoom out here. The list goes, there's Henry Morgan, Blackbeard, Calico Jack. Oh, what? I hate technology. Come on. This is not what I wanted to do. There we go. Okay. Captain Kidd and Bonnie and Edward England. They were all very famous pirates. And they were all privateers. And once the wars in Europe ended, the wars in America ended. And when the wars in America ended, the pirates were no longer getting money. So instead of being privateers, they destroyed their permission to legally piratize and became full pirates illegally. And actually, and all of these pirates were eventually found, tortured, and hanged. Not a very good end. In 1990, or by 1890, I'm sorry, piracy was completely dead. Ships were stronger, navies were stronger, there was no need for privateers anymore, so pirates were just all told to go home. And they did. There was no piracy until the 1990s, and that's when the central government in Somalia collapsed and led to many a tough man becoming a pirate, such as this man here. I do not want to mess with that guy. I think the gun's bigger than him. But anyways, people have become pirates all over Somalia and Southeast Asia, again, because they can make a lot of money doing that. Since 1990, there's been private yachts, cruise ships, freight ships, oil tankers that have all been raided off the coast of Somalia, which has made the navies of the world very angry. And so they're still fighting to keep the Straits of Somalia and the areas around Southeast Asia safe from the dangers of piracy. And that battle still continues on to this day.